It's time for the Burning River Sportscast. Eagles 20, Browns 16. We'll break it all down right now. Welcome into a very special game day live edition of the Burning River Sportscast, presented by the fine folks at Tappan Media. I'm Kenny Thunder. Joining me today is Strawberry Shortcake's brother, Red Hot Ronnie Jams, and 98% man, 2% milk. The Big Bone Man is with us as well. Gentlemen, happy to have you this evening.
Hola.
For this swell Sunday evening.
Yeah, it's something.
Back to Red Hot, working our listeners find the dopest dope they ever heard on a podcast, a #1 rated football podcast, and all the good pods, as well as the unofficial podcast of Cleveland Browns backers everywhere.
And the official podcast of some Cleveland Browns backers somewhere. First of all, I like that Bones 2% milk. That made me laugh. But you can find our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. I'm talking Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Podcast, Castro, Good Pods, where we are the #1 football podcast, and so many more. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, the only place you can find our video podcast. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Our handles for all those is at Burning River Sportscast. And we are on X at Burning River Pod. And while you're at it, check out our merch, www.thetappenmedia.com/shop. We've got all kinds of stuff in there. River gear, Chubb gear. Chubb comes back next week. Chubb gear. But before we get started, I do want to give a quick shout out to some of our sponsors. Towpat Distillery. Towpat Distillery, handcrafted, award-winning, small batch, local, and family owned right here in Akron, Ohio. Make sure you get some. And then True Fan Travel. They make away games, home games with all-inclusive travel packages. So far, the Las Vegas and Washington, D.C. trips have been awesome. Now, join us next month when we help the Dog Pound take over the Superdome in New Orleans. If we're still playing football, then I don't know. We could be done.
We don't do that here.
Yeah, I don't know. But, so on today's show this week, you look forward to a recap of the Browns game against the Eagles, our initial reactions, how we're feeling about the Browns to this point. Spoiler alert, it's not good. And I'm sure there's going to be so much more. So since I've reached a point of total and utter apathy, I guess let's just get this over with. So let's start it off with reminding everybody to call the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline. Don't forget to call and leave your hot. Yeah.
Want your hot takes.
Yeah. Listen, seriously, call us. Let us know how you're feeling. The longer this goes on, the more and more angry everyone's getting. And I know we're not the only ones. So give us a call, drop us a line, let us know. We'll put you on our show. 330-227-8080. One more time, that's 330-227-8080.
8080.
Call now, and we will put those takes on the air. But guys, week 6, played the Eagles. Come into this thing 1-4. Have a chance to at least get back to 2-4 before Nick Chubb comes back. Hopefully give us a shot heading down the stretch into the bye. Just another stinker.
Stinker.
Absolute stinker. Like this. Can someone else start?
This team sucks a million asses a second.
Yeah. Like I was watching. It was funny. Like we finally reached the point in the season where I literally sat down to watch the game, and I did one of these. I sat down and I went, just like, here we go.
It's not fun. It's not fun. It's the least entertaining football that I've ever watched, and I watched 1-31. That team at least had heart. Those guys were at least trying.
They tried all the time. They tried hard.
And
they just were really bad. They had a lack of talent. This team is the complete opposite. They have a ton of talent, and there's just no heart.
And again, I know they asked Stefanski again after the game, like, are you gonna make any changes? No changes. We're just gonna keep doing this. Like, when Sashi and company broke the team down to the studs, like, I can at least respect the fact that they told us they're tanking and it's gonna be a while, it's gonna be a rebuild, to stick with them. At least they were transparent. I don't have any clue what this administration's doing. What the fuck? They're certainly not focused on winning.
Nope.
That's not a priority to them.
Yeah,
hoping to prove themselves right by bringing in Deshaun.
That's exactly what's been going on. They keep waiting for it to happen, and they just keep looking worse and worse. And how's this fair to the rest of the team? All the guys there are some people out there busting their ass. You got Joel Bitonio out there, Father Time's just smacking him in the mouth every day, and he's just out there busting his ass trying to win games, and we're just garbage. And are there going to be any changes? Nah. No.
No, and it's like I keep hearing the same thing. Well, we just need guys to come together and play together. And I'm just like, again, I revert back to the idea then that like this is a culture problem. And the thing is, they didn't have that problem 8 months ago. So like, how fragile was this locker room that a 4 month vacation before OTAs literally the entire system collapsed in upon itself.
It's just so bad.
I think not bringing back Joe Flacco sucked the life out of them. They're like, oh, administration doesn't want to win.
Yeah, it sucked the life out of them. Now the Browns suck a million asses a second.
They're so bad. This game was so hard to watch. And the thing is, like, we knew it coming in, right? I mean, all three of us picked the Browns to lose. We thought
Handily.
the score would have been.
It was actually a lot closer than I thought it would
lopsided. To be, those could have scored on that last drive. They just didn't have to. So with 3-4 minutes left in the game, like they just ran clock. They didn't have to score. Had they scored, all of our predictions would have been pretty darn close, pretty darn spot on. And it's just sad that we're at this point where, like we are the footnote on ESPN and on Football Night where they're talking about the Browns game. We that irrelevant at this point.
Oh yeah, we're just really bad, and they just it's like the running joke, or like you said, it's just like, well, let's check in with the Browns. Still doing bad? Yep, real bad.
Still doing bad? Still the worst quarterback in the league? Still the worst contract situation in the NFL? Still there.
And they give examples too. They're like, here's another example why they're the worst.
Yeah. Like, Bill O'Reilly had the no spin zone. Like I'm Kenny O'Reilly. Like, welcome to the no fun zone. Like, that's where we've entered. Because, look, I know I saw a lot of like the devout Deshaunites out there on Facebook and Twitter out there saying, this game's not on Deshaun. This team has all kinds of issues. And the thing is, like, I'll give you, Deshaun didn't lose you this game.
He didn't win the game.
Deshaun also didn't win you this game.
No.
Like, that's the bar we set for a backup quarterback, not a guy that you pay $50 million a year in guaranteed money to. I will admit, like, this was the best that we've seen Deshaun play. In fact, I would argue this is the best that we've seen Deshaun play. I think this is the best version of Deshaun humanly possible.
16
of
23
version of Deshaun
was
16 points again, under 200 yards passing, under 300 yards total offense for the 6th week in a row. That is the best Deshaun possible.
And he accounted for 0 touchdowns. The offense didn't score a touchdown.
Right. Yeah, the Browns are the
Special
first
teams
team
again.
Yeah, the stat I saw right before I jumped on here was the Browns were the first team in at least 10 years that I think it might have been 30 years, but I'm going to say at least 10 years that haven't scored over 20 points in their first 6 games.
I saw that too.
That's
I wrote
correct.
that down.
Yeah, I'm just like
10 years.
Like, what is happening?
I mean, Rodney McLeod has scored 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. That's the same as Deshaun Watson.
Rodney McLeod is the team's leading scorer right now, in case anyone was like, besides the kicker, like as far as like position players, Rodney McLeod is the team's leading scorer right now.
Did you see this stat?
Because I think Deshaun has 5.
Okay, skill positions outside of the quarterback, but you get my point. It's not good.
Yeah.
At one point today, they were 0 for 26 on 3rd down. I don't know if that changed by the end of the game, but that was a nice.
You know what? I don't even know.
Line.
They were 3 of 12 on the day, so
3 of 12. Yeah, so they finally got one.
They got one.
That's good.
I'm just saying that. Yeah, at some point in the game, they were
26 in a row. Yeah, Michael Strahan hit him with that at halftime. He said they've gone 26 straight 3rd downs without converting, and that's just a $230 million quarterback.
Yeah, just almost how you can watch that and just be like, this is fine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a bargain, right? That's like under $10 million per 3rd down not converted, right?
Yeah.
Guys, again, we're going to the no fun zone. I mean, did anybody think that we missed out in the draft by not drafting Spencer Rattler?
No.
22 of 42, 43 today and a touchdown. Did anybody think we missed out in the draft today this year by not drafting Drake May?
No.
20 of 33, 243 yards and 3 touchdowns. Guys, these are rookies in their first start. Rookies in their first start ever. They never played a down in the NFL. And they did something today that Deshaun hasn't done all season long. All year.
He's had
all
6
year.
shots.
All year.
Yeah.
These clowns come in that aren't good quarterbacks, admittedly, and they make Deshaun look like child's play because he is. He's not a serious football player. He's not a serious quarterback. Oh, and by the way, Joe Flacco has another multi-touchdown day and a win. Oh, and by the way, Baker goes for 3 1/4 and 4 touchdowns today. But don't peek behind the curtain. We got our guy in Deshaun. He's going to change the franchise.
Well, it's funny because, I talked about it last week, how I tried to be cautiously optimistic for a long time with Deshaun. And I was all about I couldn't, it was annoying hearing Baker Bros talk, and Kenny's a Baker Bro. And I'm kind of more on the bandwagon of it's okay to be a Baker Bro now because you know who's worse? The only group worse than Baker Bros is Deshaun defenders.
These people that are defending Deshaun, without
Deshaun defenders, because they're
blindly
completely
defending them.
Yeah, they're completely blind, and no matter what stats anybody throws at you, it doesn't matter. It's the rest of the team's fault and not his fault. And it's like, at some point, if every room you walk in smells like shit, it's got to be you.
I just don't know what point you pull the trigger. I mean, you're 1-5. What point do you go, it's time to make a change? Making a change beyond this week doesn't matter.
3 or 4 games ago.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's the thing. The Raiders just got beat up really bad by the Steelers. Antonio Pierce and that Raiders team they're not good. They might win 6 games this year and he'll probably get fired. But you know what? I give Antonio Pierce credit for. They were 2-3 and things weren't really going their way. And he at least had the balls to fucking make a change and say, hey, we're going to try something different because this isn't working out. I'm not going to wait until the season's totally lost. I'm going to have some fortitude here. Something Kevin Stefanski clearly doesn't have because he can't stand up for himself and he can't stand up to ownership and he can't stand up to Andrew Berry. So this guy's ballless. That's what I'm going with. This is an utter disgrace to men because this man has zero fortitude to stand up and make a change. Everyone sees it. There's no one saying, well, there was one person. I saw Mary Kay come out and say, I think
of course she
right
did.
Call.
Of course Mary Kay did.
I don't want to denigrate Mary Kay.
I do.
She's a professional and she does her thing and she's good at it. But this take she had this afternoon was dead ass wrong, which was we need to see what we have in Deshaun so that we know going forward. What else do you need to see?
Listen,
he hasn't thrown for 200 yards one time. The offense has not eclipsed 300 yards one time. They haven't eclipsed 18 points in a game all year long.
Yeah, this is nothing against Mary Kay. This is just facts. She's beholden to the Browns. She's going to say what the Browns want her to say. They want her to spin everything to make it sound like the Browns are doing good things, and they're just not doing good things.
No.
Yeah, I heard it. I think it was Jeff Thomas on the post-game show brought up the point that Deshaun was 4-1 at one point last year as a starter. Yeah. And I'm looking back, I'm like, that was because of the defense last year. Deshaun looked like total garbage last year. Yet, despite that,
he looked like this.
He won a few games with them. But I'm like, you're talking about last year, my friend, before he got hurt, to defend him this year. So
yeah, right. That's what the Deshaun defenders will grab onto stuff like that. And it's like, we had the number 1 defense in football last year. So you want to talk about what changed is the defense isn't as good this year. And that's fine. Right. And that's not a Deshaun thing. But again, we go back to this is a $230 million quarterback that you brought him in specifically to elevate the offense for when the defense isn't playing that well. Right. And guess what? Right now, the defense is going through a rough
looks
stretch.
Worse.
Yeah,
and he looks worse than rookies playing in their first GD game.
Yeah, and yeah, that's what you're brought in for. The defense is going through a rough patch. You're supposed to elevate the team. You're supposed to put them on your back and say, "Let's go. I got this." And he can't do that. And I say with confidence that he can't do that because he's been given about 4 chances. Most of these games this year have not been blowouts. And Deshaun's had a chance there at the end of the game.
No.
And every time there's something that goes wrong, and almost every time it's something that Deshaun could have prevented. So, I mean, obviously the penalties are what they are, but there's still chances for him to put the team on his back and carry him to the finish line, and he just hasn't done it a single time.
Well, yeah, I mean, every team faces adversity, right? I mean, the Dallas Cowboys last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't want to have to be looking at 4th and goal to win the game, but they were. Like, bad things happen, and you have to overcome them. And look, I'm not even saying like Dak Prescott's the greatest like gift to man, but like
He's better.
I think he's a franchise quarterback. Yeah, he's a guy that can win you games. Deshaun is not a guy that can win you games. He can not lose you games. That's his ceiling.
It's as good as it gets. Robert Hamilton just chimed in.
That's as good as it gets.
Robert Hamilton just chimed in on Facebook. He said, "Gentlemen, we suck." Oh, there's the show. Let's pack it in, guys. Let's
move in.
That's about it.
I mean, I could have said it better myself.
He pretty much said it all, you know. Like, yeah, I don't have any defense for this team anymore, and the only thing that I'll agree with Deshaun defenders on is this isn't giving Deshaun a pass at all, is that this whole team is ass. Like, everybody's playing poorly. But again, there's no defense for Deshaun in that because you pay him to elevate you above that.
A good quarterback
again,
elevates
like, it just doesn't make and again, it just doesn't make sense because we saw 10 months ago a good football team with a lot of the same problems in terms of personnel and injuries and guys not being. Hell, Nick Chubb got hurt in week 2.
Yeah, he's yeah.
I mean, like, it's not like that team had everything going for them, and it was just we just needed to find the right quarterback. I mean, we shuffled quarterbacks all year long, and we found ways to win games. That team had tenacity and a desire to win. Like, if you ask me, if you're like, what changed between this year and last year? I mean, the personnel, the roster, it's not like they turned over the roster. It's not like they signed a bunch of undrafted free agents and brought in a bunch of new guys. The difference is Deshaun's there. Deshaun's there this year, and this team has zero faith. And I know we talked to like John Greco last week, and he kind of made it out to be like, you know, everybody's a professional and they're going to do their job regardless. Look, I think that's true to an extent. I think this team is so apathetic about the fact that they know they don't have a guy they can count on in that locker room.
Yeah. No, and I agree. And I think that, to John Greco's point, they are going to continue to try and do everything they can to win games because they're professionals. But with that being said, it doesn't matter because the guy behind center is holding you back.
Right.
And so when you know that you're coming into a game and you're going to be hard pressed to even score a touchdown on offense, like, what are we talking about?
I just don't know. Like, I just don't know at what point, like, warrants a change. Like, there's zero desire to win here. We're going to blame it on everything but the quarterback, who has been consistently bad all year long. Yeah. I could make a case for every other player on this team that they've played good at least once this season. I can't make that case for Deshaun.
You know what the worst part about it is, too, is like, we're the Browns. So historically, we're real quick to just get quarterbacks out of there and say, we don't care how big of a mistake we made. Like, you're not the answer. For whatever reason, Deshaun Watson is the guy. We're like, you know what? He deserves every benefit of the doubt.
Well, and you know, part of the problem too is just that you have the most loyal fan base on the planet, and they're going to just blindly follow this team no matter what happens. And we're going to, just like I'm pissed off, I'm going to tune in next Sunday. And
oh yeah, I just
worse than one in CS football again. But like, if this fan base actually talked to ownership by not going to games, not buying merchandise, and Jimmy was like, I'd really like to build Jimmy World in a big glass palace, but nobody comes to these games. Maybe we ought to try winning.
Yeah. Yeah, and they will come back. I'm glad we have this show now so that I could just use it as a venting session and then kind of clean slate for next show. Because, guys, I'll be honest, if this was our week in and week out and it was the only show we did, it would be so damn depressing. It would be awful.
It is depressing.
It was a lot more fun last year.
Yeah, we won a lot more last year.
Yeah.
It was Those were better times. You never know you're living in the good times until the good times are over.
Yeah.
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 So
yeah, I mean, is there anything? I mean, I guess the point of this show is to break down the game. Like, I know. So we've talked about Deshaun. Is there any other points? I guess of this game that are even worth mentioning?
Yeah, I want to bring up something. So we talk about lack of drive and lack of motivation and those types of things. What the hell? Like, I know there was some questions about trades and stuff in the offseason, but what the hell happened to Amari Cooper? So for everyone, I just want to say this, for everyone that said we should definitely give that guy a big contract to make him so happy. And this is why you didn't, is because he's officially, like, to this point, I understand we don't really have any receivers on our team because we only throw for 160 yards a game, but to this point, he's fallen off a cliff. Like, he's gone from an elite receiver to, like, he might not even be tier B. He's like tier C. Like, it's bad. He drops half the balls that hit him in his face. Like, I'm just so amazed that Amari Cooper has gone from the level he's been at for the last 3 years to where he's at right now so quickly.
I mean, it's hard to believe that just turning another year older broke Amari Cooper, but he's clearly not the same player that has been dependable and the consummate professional that we've seen. Not that he's been unprofessional, but he just hasn't been doing his job, which isn't good. I mean, he's one of the guys. If you would have asked me at the start of training camp who has the best hands on the team, I'd have told you Amari Cooper. I said he'll catch anything in his range.
Yeah,
but he doesn't.
No, he does not. And then along those same lines, just talking about receivers, Jerry Jeudy, one catch for 35 yards today. And for everybody, I saw a lot of things online talking about how we overpaid him, this, that, and the other thing. Like, no, this dude is top 10 in separation yards in the NFL. And Deshaun Watson, this is another reason why I say I know Deshaun's not good. I know it's not the team that's letting him down. He can't find Jerry Jeudy despite him having the top 10 separation yards in the league. Are you kidding? 1 for 35? 1 for 35.
I feel terrible for Jerry Jeudy because I feel like he was, just like the rest of us, he was sold a bill of goods. Like, I got a quarterback here and this team's going to be lights out on offense and I'm going to have 1,000-yard season. Jerry Jeudy has been, to me at least, I mean, he hasn't caught a bunch of balls, but I think it's because we don't have a quarterback that can throw it to him. Yeah. When I'm watching him on the field, I'm like, this guy's open on every other play. I don't know, like, why we can't give this guy the ball. He looks fast. He has caught everything that's been thrown to him. I mean,
and when he catches the ball, and when he catches the ball, he is phenomenal in space.
Sure, but yeah, I mean, he got the raw end of that deal.
Yeah, it's just another reason why I know it's Deshaun. I know it's not just the team letting him down. It's Deshaun Watson not being able to play quarterback at a high level. And then one more thing I wanted to throw out here. Jerome Ford, before he went down, he obviously didn't get a chance to really do much. But as soon as he went down, I said, oh, nice. We'll get to see more touches for Pierre Strong. Mind you, Jerome Ford averages like 2.8 yards a carry when you take out like his 2 big plays ever. And Pierre Strong proceeded to go 8 for 43. So not that he got a ton of touches, but he averaged over 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, which we've said for 2 years that Pierre Strong needed more touches. So
and he ran hard.
Was good to see. And I know he's been nicked up a little bit, but yeah, it was good to see him out on the field today and good to see him getting touches. But again, this was a game that was close. Like, this wasn't a game that got away from them. They were tied at halftime or up 10 around halftime at the start of the second half. I don't know why we fall in love with 3 and out. We're like, let's just throw the ball on every down. We'll go 3 and out on every possession. Like, run the damn ball.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be this difficult. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse here on Deshaun, but I was just looking just for a second to see the record-setting feverish pace that he's on. Assuming that he continues to be Deshaun and nothing changes, he's on pace for a hot 2,800 yards this year as a starting quarterback in the NFL over 17 weeks, not 16.
Yeah.
That's historically
bad. It's got to be historically bad.
I mean, that is like what you expect out of a rookie quarterback for 2/3 of a season that comes in a lost year. Going to get 2,500 yards, going to throw 10 touchdowns. That's what we're looking at.
Well, and I know he's on pace to break the sacks taken record by 30 or something stupid. I think it's legitimately he's on pace to beat it by 15. But people will point to that and say that's all the offensive line. But we talked about this. We've talked about this all season long. He's top 10. He's number 7 right now. Before this game, I don't know what it is updated, but before this game, he was number 7 in time to throw. So it's not like they're not giving him time. He can't find the 5 open receivers, and he eats the ball and gets sacked.
Yep.
Yeah, there were a couple times a day where he definitely was. There was an outlet guy wide open, and he was just watching the rush and took a dive. It's just funny too because it reminds me of just going through the Cliffs notes this week of the Eagles defense, and we talked about how their defensive line really hasn't gotten home this year. Half their stacks were from linebackers, and I kind of said jokingly, "Oh, that should change this week." 5 sacks for the Eagles today. 5 sacks.
Yep.
They had 6 on the year through 5 games.
Yep. I saw that before this game they had only forced 2 3-and-outs the entire season.
Oh, that number took a turn up for him today.
Yeah, they tripled it.
244 yards of total offense today, guys. 244 yards.
Yeah. Just poor. And again,
Spencer Rattler and Drake May threw for more than we had as a team in their first game.
Browns have 95 points on the year. Only the Chargers have less at 91.
That's
which is
impressive.
Oh, this is in the AFC. Just to disclaim that, but the Chargers have only given up 66 points, and we've given up 141. I just thought that was interesting. That's why this Chargers still seem like a good team.
Yeah, that's an interesting stat. Just that they've got less than us, seeing as how bad we are and how good they seem at quarterback compared to us. But either way,
has Justin Herbert been hurt? I saw that.
I think he was hurt. Yeah,
maybe they've had a bye week.
Yeah,
too.
he was hurt. Remember.
That's it. They must have had
Steelers,
a bye
remember?
They must have had a bye week. That has to be it.
Maybe.
I think they did have a bye week, actually.
The only ones that have scored less than us didn't play a week. I don't know. There's not much more to say, guys. I mean, it is what it is. We just are not good right now. There's not much more breaking down this game. I mean, if you want to go team stats here, they beat us in every category, basically. They had 19 first downs. We had 14. They had 62 plays. We had 53. They had 372 yards. We had 244. They had 10 drives to our 8. They had 116 yards rushing to our 100. They had 5 penalties for 40 yards. We had 7 for 55 yards. They had no. Where's that
just to confirm, the Chargers did have a bye week last week.
Yeah,
makes sense.
And don't worry, the Bengals are getting an easy win right now over the Giants, so we are definitely going to be in last place.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost to them. Yeah, I mean, guys, it's October 13th, and we're having a serious conversation about can we get the first pick in the draft? And again, maybe that's ownership's goal, right? They said we didn't have any first round draft picks after we got Deshaun. And we need to reload this team with some young talent. Maybe that's their plan. But like I said, at least Sashi and company told us. I don't know what this group is doing.
I don't think this group knows what they're doing. I think at this point they're
embarrassing.
The season's just such a complete loss. It took a turn for everybody, including the front office. That they're. I just honestly think they're doing what we're doing. They're like, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Well, Ronnie, that's a real problem because they're the ones in charge. We're clowns for your entertainment. They're the ones in charge.
Yep. Yep. What's the saying? It's something about running the circus. What's the saying? Do you know what I'm talking about? The clowns.
I could get a good look at a T-bone by sticking my head up a cow's ass, but I'd rather take my butcher's word for it.
Yeah, that'll do it. No, but with that, listen, guys. I'll be honest with you. I think we've covered this game enough.
Yeah.
And so with that, let's just go ahead and let's give we are going to do nominees for dog of the week here. Because it was better than it was before. Still not good, but I'm just trying to look for silver linings and do what I can to stay as positive as possible, because if not, it's going to be a really long season for all of us. So, Kenny, did you have somebody that stuck out to you?
No, but I'll give you one. I'm going to go Devin Bush. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
It's not because he had a spectacular performance. He had, looks like, 6 tackles he was credited with, which is fine. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Devin Bush, I know for at least one play, did his assignment. And I think that he caught a lot of unfair flack on social media right after it happened on the option play that they ran towards the end of the game. Devin Bush was covering the pitch man and just had to watch Jalen Hurts run for a first down because there was nobody covering the quarterback. But I saw a lot of people get up because he was the only man in the area. We're all over Devin Bush. Oh, he's sold out. He's trash. And I was like, there's no way he just wouldn't have tackled Jalen Hurts. His assignment was pitch man and the option.
Nobody
if they ran option, and if he doesn't do his job, they pitch it to Saquon Barkley, who takes it for 60 yards to the house. So I'll give Devin Bush, for doing his job, at least on one play, dog of the week nomination.
Damn, this is where we're at, huh? I'm going to go Rodney McLeod. He returned the blocked kick for a touchdown. And as I said before, he now has more points scored for the Browns than any skill position outside of quarterback. So quarterback and kicker,
best offensive weapon.
Quarterback and kicker are the only 2 positions that have scored more points this season for the Browns than Rodney McLeod.
That's wild.
He's our best weapon. He's good.
Yeah. Bone.
All right. I'm gonna go. I guess I'm going JOK. He's my favorite Browns defensive player, and I feel like he's played hard the whole year. I think he had 7 or 8 tackles. He had a sack. So I'm going JOK. Kind of just because I'm biased and I like him a lot. But maybe he was supposed to be on that assignment over there with that option play. Maybe he was the quarterback.
He was the quarterback guy.
He was supposed to be on the quarterback.
They do have JOK quite a bit, so it might have been him. It might have been.
Yeah,
him.
it might have been him.
But either way, we'll leave him in there. I'll say I'm not putting him on our graphic, and nobody can vote for him. But Myles Garrett will get a honorable mention for blocking the kick. But I will say this: I'm actually kind of glad that he got left out completely from our actual nominations, because besides that, once again, he didn't do too much. So
yeah, he had 4 tackles in the day. So yeah, I mean, I'm right with you, Ronnie. That's what I was going to say. Was I wasn't going to nominate Myles because, look, I've been saying for the last 2 weeks, and you joined in last week as well, like, this team is in such a bad spot. And when you're facing adversity, you look to your leaders, you look to your best players, and they're the ones that are supposed to step up. They're the ones that are supposed to elevate them, those around them. And yes, did he make an outrageous Jurassic Miles play on that block? Sure. But that's expected of you. That is your job. That was the one play today that you stepped up and made a difference. But it has to be more than one play. It has to be consistent all game long. You have to drive until everybody around you is on the same pace as you. And we're just not seeing that out of this defense and out of Myles.
No, not at all.
So I denominate your honorable mention.
All right, that's fair. Well, like I said, he wasn't making the graphic regardless, and I'm angry that he just hasn't. And I know we've talked about this year in and year out. He's not the guy that's going to be vocal and whatever, but you need to lead by example. Like
lead by example. That's fine.
Just get out there and make plays, and he just doesn't seem to make plays in big moments. That I'll give you, that was a play, but besides that, like, you're the top defensive end in the league, and you know. We need you to stuff the stat sheet over there.
I mean, I watch TJ Watt make a play like that at least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So, and today again was no exception. He punched another ball out, caused a fumble. I mean, like, that's the kind of, you have to do it consistently.
Yes. So final thoughts for this week. This could be anything around the NFL, guys. Bone, we'll start with you. You got any final thoughts?
Man, Lions. They're pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Just beat the snot out of Dallas.
Yeah.
Which every
Both
time
them.
the Dallas Cowboys have been just blown out like 3 times since we played them. So it just makes it all that much worse that they completely destroyed the Browns.
Yeah, just seeing a blowout like that in the NFL is just, I feel like it's rare, and it just surprised me when I saw that score today. So
And that's not the right. That's what I'm saying. It's not the first time it
much-
happened to the Cowboys after
Yeah.
they blew us out.
Too much meat watching going on down in Big D.
You get it? Shout out to Aiden Hutchinson too, man. Holy crap, his leg got snapped like a wishbone.
Sure, thank you. You were going to ask for final thoughts, and you're going to shout him out before you even call on me. Thank you.
He's talking about the Lions game. He's talking about the Lions game. It's not my
he didn't
fault.
say anything about Aiden Hutchinson. He didn't say anything about Aiden Hutchinson. He's just talking about the blowout.
Kenny, you got any?
Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, well, I would say just in terms of blowouts, Dallas wasn't the only one today because, again, the Buccaneers took it to New Orleans and Spencer Rattler. I think that was like a 51-27 game or so. The Steelers pounded the Raiders. I mean, that was a blowout as well. So, yeah, there were a couple of surprising scores this week. Again,
Houston beat New
Aiden
England
Hutchinson. His leg was,
41-21.
Yeah, Houston had a big game. And I mean, look, we've talked a lot about the Ravens and that rushing attack with Derrick Henry. When Joe Mixon is healthy for that Houston team, he puts the team in another stratosphere. To have a reliable running back and a reliable just rushing attack to pair with CJ Stroud. They've struggled a little bit over the last couple of weeks without him, but when he's in the game and healthy, he's a huge difference maker for them. As much as I'm not high on like Joe Mixon as being a stud, but I think their rushing attack kind of rivals Baltimore's, and I think that as much as we're high on like Kansas City, I haven't seen Kansas City play a good game yet this year. Whereas like I could easily see Houston and Baltimore being like an AFC Finals type of game, because even Buffalo kind of has fallen off. They seem like hot and cold. But anyway, my final thought of the day is just this: is that the Browns are awful. They're 1-5. Ravens win today. I think they've won 4 in a row. The Steelers are 4-2, and even the Bengals are probably going to get a win tonight. They're already beating the Giants, and they'll likely be 2-4. So, welcome to the basement, boys.
We're back where we belong. This is fun.
Back where we belong.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, Kenny, you don't worry. You return the favor, because my whole final thought was going to be about the division. So you just wrapped it all up for me.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah. And I denominate your honorable mention.
You're just really shitting all over everything I do in this show.
Suck it. You and Stefanski are ballless together.
Thank you. So with my final thought, now that everything's been taken away from me, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with just the fact that even
how quick is Ronnie on his feet?
No, I am going to go with this. So like even a little bit of the game that I've watched, for the Giants and the, Bengals right now. The Bengals are a bad team. They're right there with us. They're 1-4. They'll probably be ahead of us after this, like you said. But the Bengals, like Joe Burrow and that offense, is in a whole different stratosphere than the Cleveland Browns. And I know we talked a little bit about this last week, but it just feels so bad to know that we are legitimately one of the worst teams in the NFL. Like we are going nowhere fast unless we make a quarterback change. And it's go back to your point about all the rookies playing and the numbers they're putting up, which aren't the best numbers, but they're not bad numbers. They're not Deshaun numbers. And so I'm just going to keep hammering this. I think like most people are until something changes is as long as Deshaun is under center for us, the Browns may not win another game the rest of the year. So I mean,
that's fair.
Let that sink in for everybody.
I mean, look again,
long ride.
To go back to what Mary Kay said, like, oh, we got to see what we have in Deshaun. Look, we're 1-5. I'd rather throw DTR out there, and if we lose, if you lose the rest of your games, then at least we can. I'd rather see what we have in DTR for the rest of the season than see what we have in Deshaun. I know what we have in Deshaun, and it's ass.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know. I don't even understand that comment about Deshaun anymore. Like, what do you mean? He's literally been so consistent since he's been with the Browns. Like, he throws for 175 yards and no touchdowns and no interceptions. Like, that's what you get. That's the guy.
In the entire time Deshaun Watson has been a Cleveland Brown, he settled more lawsuits than he has thrown touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's bad.
I can't even say anything to that.
Maybe there's an understanding. Maybe the Browns have like more dirt on them, and they're just like, all right, Deshaun, tank the season for us so we can get the #1 pick, and we'll continue paying you your money.
I love it when Bone drums up conspiracy theories. It's my favorite. Like,
it's my newest one. I just came up with it.
I love it.
I mean, the thing is, it's not even like this is a quarterback heavy draft. You know, it's like, what are they gonna do at quarterback if they end up with the #1 pick or the #2 pick? I mean, do you draft do you draft Quinn Ewers, or do you go and draft like the Travis Hunter kid from Colorado? Like, what do you even do?
Yeah, I don't.
Here's what I do know. I don't trust this front office to make. I don't trust this front office to make the right pick, whatever it is.
The dude from Penn State, he's from Medina.
Nice, I like that. They definitely, if they go Travis Hunter, he's a guaranteed bust, because our track record with specifically Barry's track record with wide receivers is just garbage. So, yeah,
maybe he'll be a top flight defensive back.
Maybe, but why are you drafting at #1 then? We have like 14 defensive backs that are supposed to be really good that aren't. So
they're supposed to be good. Yeah. How many times did Newsom sell out today? I mean, Jesus, you're manned up on a guy that ran all the way across the field, and you just let him go.
That's my final thought. I'm going back to it. My final thought is Greg Newsom pissed me off so hard today. I've never like been so angry just watching a football game in my life. When he got picked on that crossing route and won, he didn't even attempt to fight through the pick. Like, not even a little. He just was like, oh, there's a pick
coming.
He ran
away from it.
I'll run away. 2, then he went the wrong way to try and catch up. And 3.
Yeah, it wasn't even a good pick. It was a sloppy pick.
No, it's terrible. And 3, when he finally did realize, like, oh, this is happening. Oh, no, I went the wrong way. Instead of, like, you know, busting his ass trying to make a play and knock the guy down, he literally just stopped. He just stopped. So
he walked.
He walked.
He had good seats for that touchdown.
Yeah, Greg Newsom on that play was how I've felt watching the Browns the entire year. It's just like nothing, no heart, no grit, no nothing. It's just, why am I watching this crap?
And it felt like when Denzel was in the game, like early, like they had a harder time completing passes to their big 2 guys. And then it's like, all of a sudden Denzel wasn't in the game like for like 2.5 quarters, and then came back for the final series when they were chewing clock.
I think he's still dealing with that hamstring injury that he got last week, but
well, then why come back in the game in the final drive, you know?
Oh, they were running the ball.
Trying to figure out, oh yeah, they were running the ball. He was like, I'm not going to get embarrassed here. I mean, he made some plays early in the game where it was like, you know, and those are good receivers. AJ Brown especially had a nice day, and I mean, Zell covering him did a pretty nice job until he wasn't in the game, and then our defensive backs had a really hard time after that.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's close this thing out, guys. I want to remind everybody to call the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline one more time. Don't forget to call and leave your hot takes on the Hot Take Hotline. Remember, these are hot takes. We want to hear what you think about the Cleveland Browns, about Kevin Stefanski, about Andrew Berry, you know, all of them. We want to know how you feel about everybody, all the players, Deshaun Watson. Is it time for a quarterback change? You know, what should we be doing on defense? Let us know. We want to hear.
If you were Nick Chubb, would you come back and play this year for this team?
Yeah. All of those things. 330-227-8080. One more time. That's 330-227-8080.
8080.
Call now, and be sure to check out our gear, www.thetappingmedia.com/shop, and that'll do it for us. Kenny, what can we expect this week?
What can we expect next week? Well, you can expect this week, next week, whatever week it is, our normal show again to be released this Thursday. We'll be previewing the Week 7 game against the Cincinnati Bengals, who again are currently leading the New York Football Giants. another Browns backers interview. This week we have the Muni Lot Browns backers. We also have a very special interview that I'm hoping most of you will find entertaining. It's certainly an interesting subject.
Or at least
We
informative.
thought it was. So that's with Q Caller. So you'll have to tune in to find out more about Q Caller.
Too bad
but
Whiteheart got cut.
That should be a pretty interesting conversation.
Yeah. And don't forget to check us out on social media. Tapping Media.
Do we have another special guest joining, Ronnie, as well?
For this week? Oh, yes. We got Brownstronaut this week, I believe, right? Is that this week?
I think we have 2 more special guests. I think we have big interviews this week. This is big interview week.
I think it's Brownstronaut, Q Caller, and the Browns backers. Because the following week is when John Hughes is back, is what you're talking about.
No, I'm talking about another one.
We have another one? Oh, yeah, we have Pumpkinhead this week. You are correct. Ooh, that just got scheduled yesterday. That's why I forgot about it. We will have
talk about
Pumpkinhead.
the West 6 debacle.
Yeah, in case anybody has not heard, the West 6 tailgate got canceled by the city. So we're gonna have Pumpkinhead on to talk about that and what's going on and if there's any chance for them to get that back this year. So tune in.
So lots of interviews.
So many interviews. It's going to be a late night tomorrow, boys. So check us out on social media. Tappin Media is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Tappin Media. I'm Burning River Sportscast. That's this podcast is on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Burning River Sportscast and on X at Burning River Pod. And you can find our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. I'm talking Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Castro, Good Pods, where we are the number one football podcast, and so many more. Number one. So, with that, I don't have anything else to say to you guys.
Oh, I got to get to bed. So, bon appetit, guys.
And don't just be a part of the problem, be the whole damn problem.
And only you can prevent river fires. Burning River Sportscast.
Burning River Sportscast.
The Burning River
Good night, Cleveland.
Sportscast.
Yeah. Good night, Cleveland.